Welcome back to Devil's Advocate. I am Ross Izard with the Independence Institute. In the last segment, we had a couple of folks from some charter schools talking about public school choice. Now I'd like to spend some time talking to some people who are really superheroes in my book on the private school choice side of the equation. So to do that, we have Principal Michael O'Hagan from Arrupe Jesuit High School out in Northwest Denver.
Afternoon.
And then we have Miguel Gonzalez, who is a senior at the high school. And these guys are going to tell us a little bit about the kind of work that they do over there. Before we do that, I want to just take a minute to pontificate a little bit about Arrupe. So I had the opportunity to go out and visit the school about a year ago to profile it, talk about the teachers, talk about the staff, look at the students and the work they're doing. It is an incredible, incredible place. I mean, I walked away from there, those who know me know that this is hard to do, really inspired and moved. I mean, the work that you guys are doing is fantastic, fantastic stuff. Really happy to have you here. So I'd like to just kind of get to know you, Principal O'Hagan, a little bit and talk about how you wound up at Arrupe and just tell us a little bit about the school.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. It's great to be on the show. It's great to have Miguel able to join us to kind of give a student's perspective on what we do. And thank you for the kind words. You know, Arrupe Jesuit High School opened in 2003. And our mission is the Jesuit mission, the same one that's been around for 470 some odd years. We're sponsored by the Society of Jesus in the same way that Regis University and Regis Jesuit is, and so we are a Catholic Jesuit high school. And we're in the business of formation, of serving our young people. So.
And talk to me a little bit about that Jesuit mission. So we've got, you know, there are schools everywhere, charter schools and public schools and private schools all over the place that are focused on academics, right? They want kids to leave school ready for college and to go off and have great careers. And I think that's fantastic. But with Arrupe and with this Jesuit tradition that you mentioned, you guys are really focused on doing something more than that.
Well, absolutely. You know, I mean, we work in the school. We're guided by a document, a series of principles called the Profile of the Graduate at Graduation. And in that document, we kind of list the qualities that we believe our young people come to us already having. This is what their families have worked to instill in them over the years. And then it's our job to kind of move the needle ahead. So we want our kids to be open to growth. We want them to be intellectually competent, but we want them to be religious and committed to justice and loving. And then for our work, we also have an additional characteristic. Our kids are work experienced, you know, and Denver has this long tradition of Catholic education in the center city. But for a lot of good reasons that have been discussed ad nauseum over the years, Catholic education has moved away from the center city, and fewer options were available within Denver. Arrupe opened using a work-study model that's now used in 30 cities across the country, 30 schools in a number of cities across the country through the Cristo Rey network. So we're a Catholic Jesuit school, but we're also a member of the Cristo Rey network. And that work-study program, it allows us to be economically viable. So Miguel and his 370 some odd classmates, each one of them works 1 day a week.
And I want to pause for a second and just say, this is super. When you say economically viable, I'm not sure folks understand exactly how much this helps. I mean, the kids that you serve at Arrupe are not your typical kids. These are folks who are coming from some pretty tough backgrounds a lot of the time.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Ross. So our mission is to serve families that just for financial reasons don't have many private school, certainly Catholic school options in the city. So our free and reduced lunch number hovers right around 85% every year. Average income for a family of 5 at Arrupe is about $33,000 a year. So our families are wonderful, committed moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas, but they don't always have the means to find alternative education.
And I love the way that you put it to me when I visited, which is that your motto unofficially is, if you can afford to attend Arrupe, you can't attend Arrupe, which I think really sums it up.
Unofficially and officially. I mean, there is an income threshold, and if you exceed that threshold, you know, we're not able to serve your children. The work-study program allows that to happen. So we partner with over 120 corporations within the metro area. A typical arrangement is we would have a team of 4 of our students would fill 1 entry-level position. And for that, it's a flat fee-for-service contract. So it's just about $27,000 a year that the companies pay for a team of 4 kids. And then the students split that money among themselves, and that goes directly to the school.
So these students, I mean, they're actually working. They get up, they go to a job. And can you just give me some examples of the kind of places that they might go work?
Well, you know, our single greatest, largest employer is Oppenheimer Funds. You know, but every law firm in town, or I should say the vast majority of law firms in town, hospitals, banks, our job is if you'll hire us, we'll come.
Right, and I mean, the kids show up to school, they get on a bus. I actually see the Arrupe Jesuit bus pretty frequently when I come downtown to work.
Yeah.
They go to work, and then they earn actually money that comes back into the school. And I think it's a huge percentage. I mean, it's like 50% of your budget comes from this program.
Almost 60% of our operating costs are covered by the monies generated through the Kids Work Study program. And this year, you know, it's right around $2 million that the kids will earn. And then those funds come right back to pay teacher salary, to pay for books, to pay for electricity, heat, all the good things.
And presumably to keep tuition low enough that you can afford to serve the populations that you exist to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the priorities within the school, certainly within our board of directors on down, is every family contributes something within their means to the cost of their son or daughter's tuition. And that's huge. I mean, the family investment certainly can be measured in dollars, and that always helps. But the number of sacrifices that our families have to make just to get their kids to school, and it's a longer school day, it's a longer school year. There's a substantial and a meaningful partnership between our families and the school.
So what do you find when the kids leave Arrupe? Do you find that they are heading off to college, heading off to careers? I mean, it sounds like that would really set them up to do that.
So with this graduating class, we'll have over 675 graduates. Again, 90% of whom will be the first in their families to go on to college, about 50% of whom are the first to complete high school. And 100% of our graduates have been accepted to college. So that's a number that
100%.
100%.
Every single one.
Every single one of our graduates has been accepted. This year, about 88% were accepted to 4-year colleges or universities, about 12% into a 2-year college or university. So we're, you know, we're just thrilled. I feel like Miguel should steal the show from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people get tired of hearing old folks talk about education.
But you know, Miguel can speak to the realities of our school and the successes that our young people achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. So Miguel, you're a senior at Arrupe Jesuit,
correct,
right?
yes.
Okay, and you've been there for all 4 years?
Oh, actually, I transferred over halfway through my freshman year.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it. So talk to me a little bit about what it looks like from a student's perspective. I got to see the teacher perspective, the principal perspective, all of that stuff, and it's great. But the student perspective, I think, is really the most important one. So tell me about, I mean, what's it like day to day going to school at Arrupe?
I would say just day to day, it's constant hard work. I mean, at first I went to a public school in Arvada, and I felt like teachers really didn't expect a lot from students. As soon as I stepped into Arrupe, I knew that I would have to go beyond what I was expected in Arvada, and just constant hard work, knowing that you have to be a critical thinker and that you have to support all your students, all your classmates.
Do you feel like you're getting a lot of support while you do that? I mean, high expectations are great, and we talk a lot about that in education, right? But the back end of it is that you have to provide the support that folks need to really reach the expectations. Do you feel like you get a lot of that at Arrupe?
I think so, yeah. There's a great number of teachers who are willing to stay after hours or even before school starts just to help us with questions that we might have on homework or classes from previous days. And just overall, like especially this year where I had to apply for colleges and scholarships, the support that we receive from our college counselor is amazing.
Wow. So what's your favorite subject? I have to ask that. Pick the teacher you want to impress the most.
Yeah, it would be math.
Okay,
yeah,
math.
Huge math fan.
Got it. All right. Well, so I've heard also that you are a Daniels Scholar.
That's correct.
Can you tell me a little bit what does that mean?
I would say that means the world to me, especially because both my parents were unable to finish high school and as a result now go to college. So being the first in my family to be able to do that is not only an accomplishment for myself, but also for Arrupe, knowing that they're constantly receiving Daniels Scholars.
And what is a Daniels Scholarship exactly?
That is a full ride scholarship, I'm sorry, and basically it covers room and board and tuition, and basically to any college of my choice.
Right, and I mean, these are really, really hard to get. I think it's important to understand. Daniel scholarships they're very, very difficult to get. I don't know if you guys know how many folks applied for them, but it's quite an honor to have gotten one of those, so congratulations on that. So I understand from what Principal O'Hagan told me a few minutes ago that they actually put you to work while you were at Arrupe.
Yes, they do.
Can you talk a little bit about what you did while you were there?
So from my freshman year, I started off working at Regis University, basically doing filing, taking down the mail, basic tasks. And since my sophomore year, I've been working at the University of Colorado Hospital in the ophthalmology department, and I'm filing, taking down the mail, pulling charge for doctors, and a lot of those tasks.
Okay. What do you want to do when you finish?
When I'm finished, I'm thinking of going to Loyola University Chicago, study computer science.
Wow, computer science. Yeah. That is well beyond me. I just want to take a couple minutes here, and I really appreciate being able to tell the stories, because we hear a lot about public education, a lot about charter schools. More often than not, the private school sector is something that we don't talk a lot about. And so I just want to take a couple minutes and talk about the work that you guys are doing and why it's so critically important. And just to soapbox for a second, we hear a lot of the time in education that, you know, there are certain segments and certain populations of kids that really just can't be helped, right? I mean, they're just going to come in, they have all these challenges, there's not much the schools are going to be able to do with them.
Sure.
You guys every day break down that myth, and Miguel, students like you come in and it obviously hasn't slowed you down one bit, and I admire that hugely, hugely. But the other thing that I want to mention is, so you guys have this work-study program, which is helping out enormously with paying the bills.
Absolutely. You
also get a number of scholarships from an organization called ACE, which I believe is sort of focused on serving some of the same populations of kids.
Sure. You know, the partnership with ACE began early in the history of Arrupe, if not our first year, certainly our second. You know, and ACE is the Alliance for Choice in Education, and it's really an initiative that is meant to provide families opportunity. I mean, you know this in your own work. Miguel knows this from his own experiences, but you can't guarantee kids success. You can't guarantee them the type of future we'd all like. But we can guarantee them an opportunity. And we kind of, we take that partnership with ACE very seriously, because our hopes and our expectations for our young people are so similar. We have a responsibility to create a community where kids feel valued, where they feel respected, where they're inclined to invest themselves in the work because they know that other people are investing on their behalf. And certainly the help of scholarship dollars is real in that work, but it's also the commitment of time and effort and other resources that you know, who among us doesn't want to feel valued and doesn't want to feel like they're respected?
Absolutely. Well put.
Yeah.
And I just want to say for a second, some of the stuff that I work on, I spend a lot of time on a lot of education issues. My real passion, the thing that I love to do, is school choice, and something that we've worked on a lot is a scholarship tax credit program that would provide tax incentives for folks to give more money to ACE so they could keep doing what they're doing, keep helping students like Miguel, but do more of that and at a larger scale. So I think we're out of time, unfortunately, guys. I want to thank you both for being here. Thanks for the work that you do. If somebody wanted to come and find more about Arrupe, where would they go?
You know, I'd encourage them to come to our website, which is just arrupejesuit.com. There's information there about ways they can support the school and any number of meaningful opportunities there.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. This has been Devil's Advocate with John Caldera, and we'll see you next time.